would like to introduce our featured speaker for tonight. Linda Brown will be speaking this evening about experiences and tips to performance under pressure. The Hail Mary play takes planning and mindset to keep up the momentum week after week. With planning, motivating team members, excellence is sought to raise everyone to succeed. These moments are not without using emotional intelligence. Linda will introduce us to the emotional intelligence from a few life experiences and are not limited to what others bring to the discussion. Toastmasters offer communication skills to use as tools from personal conflict resolution to family, friends, and career excellence. Welcome our very own current N director, incoming logistics manager, Linda Brown, as she helps to us perform under pressure and have the emotional intelligence to succeed with the soft skills in communication.
Thank you, Susan, and welcome everyone. Thank you. It's two topics on this tonight. Performance under pressure. First of all, let me ask, do we have that list, that shopping list, that to-do list in a day, and all of a sudden that phone rings and we're distracted? And now we got that pressure that we won't get what done was on the list that needed to be done because of distraction, and how to navigate that. Or you're working with family members and everyone has their own pressure and priorities going on, and you don't want to be the one to stick out that have better priorities than someone else. How do you manage that everybody is working through their priorities and motivated to do that? You'll know when that crosses the line to conflict when someone in that group, family members, like a little child, starts screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, mommy," right? Talking over everyone, trying to get that attention. Well, we're in Toastmasters to navigate all of that. First of all, we would have to pay attention to the child to find out by taking them off to the side and working through why they need to be acknowledged and working through those steps that I'll go through that. But that works for every adult situation as well in personal conflicts. And we get a lot of those. At least I seem to have had my share this year, to have come across some extremely good experiences that I would like to share in the middle of this presentation. So we start out with performance under fire would be another way to do it. It really is a concept that comes through our athleticism. When I was in karate, back when I was in the 20 and 30-year-old range, I had to perform under pressure quite a bit in karate. I always had to be up on the game in that moment, and I'll go through all the steps that takes that mentality of not really winning, but being in that presence to actually really wind up winning. And some of those, there's 9 performance keys when you look at this. And if you've ever seen the movie The Natural with Robert Redford, he's the baseball player. He comes back after 30 years to make a difference in the league. And you get to that last scene. It's not a spoiler if you've seen the movie. And he hits that home run and it hits the lights and sparkling down over the auditorium. He runs his home bases. He wins for the team. Statistically, that doesn't happen. And if it does happen, it's unlikely that you can keep up week after week high performance and actually be healthy at the end of the season as an athlete. So if you can see my screen, when you look at the embracing the moment, because that's the adrenaline for any sports related person, you could be a spectator and feel these too. As a spectator, you would definitely feel these. So as we go through this list, we can see that it's embracing the moment, that we have to always remember multiple opportunities. This is the mindsets that we need to go through. And that let go of winning and don't over try, because it's that mindset that if you over try, you'll underachieve. So all of these are mindsets for an athlete. Downsizing the importance. For example, if they've got to get off the bench and they have this ritual of they have to hit their sweat towel and tie their shoes and pull up their socks, and they have to do these 5 things before they go out, they give it up. They just go out on the floor like a basketball player would, just not do the ritual, just do the simple things. So breathing, centering ourselves. What it does is relax ourselves. It allows us to focus on the process, to stay focused on the moment. Be mindfulness. It's a way to stay in control. Self-talk. I belong. I'm here. It's not the same as I'm the best and I'll be a ball hog. No. No, it is I'm in this team, and what brought me here, everybody will benefit from, and we'll work together. Positive self-talk and visualization through all of this. Why this relates so great for a sports person is they're getting paid professionally some very large dollars. So you want to have good performance. But what's good for us to learn from as someone that's retired and going out for tea parties and working with other people through Toastmasters or career, some of us are still in careers, working with others, and we have projects that time management will get away from us. Now, what do? Stress level goes up, team members start to get discouraged. The team leader, perhaps me, is starting to feel that pressure. What do? We're now performing, and excuse the typos, that's always the best part, performing under pressure. So we got all these things that are happening at work, for example, and we're getting derailed by extra work by the boss or something else that's come on our plate with this to-do list that we have going on. All have timelines that are tight, time management out of control, distraction is abundant. Couple tips. Focus on what you can get done. Look at the timeline. Motivate yourself. Now you've got team members to worry about. Touch base with them. Motivate them. Do a planning session on timeline, and you'll all succeed. It's not difficult. That's oversimplification of what's going on. Yes, there'll probably be long hours, but as a team sees that pressure and regroups, success will happen. Just in time, Hail Mary play, getting that under the wire, whatever the project is, whatever the task is, it will get done because you've been able to sit back, breathe, plan, regroup, reset, and move back forward. But what happens during those moments that you have a team member that you notice has some feelings going on, expressing a little bit more than you want, the behavior's a little off, affecting others? This is where you tune into your emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? Before I go on, there's going to be some steps to understanding what that is, but it's the facial expressions, the body language, the demeanor, the word choice. Are you reading someone that has a problem? Are you able to talk to them kindly and work through perhaps an interpersonal conflict that might not be with you and them and someone else, and you're coming in to help resolve? It's not about gossiping and rumor, and it's not that. It's venting, allowing open mind, working out objectively, moving away from the subjective emotion, and coming to a resolution that makes sense. And I'll talk about another example later. So if you start seeing that happen, please take the person aside, work on mindset, yours. Always ground yourself. Then work on resetting the person by listening to them talk, listening to the words they use, listening to some of the options they offer. And under courage without fear, you'll be able to have a discussion to help them come up with steps to resolve whatever that conflict is. It's always going to be something they can do. And there's always going to be a moment that you realize maybe you can't fix it. Maybe they can't fix it. But if they talk about it, it opens the door that it can happen. And we've seen that play out on the news for the last couple of months, right? Resolution happens, but it can be a slow process. And it has to be in good tone, great word choice, and a great ear to listen. So where do we learn that? Well, the communication tools to get to that resolve is something we learn in Toastmasters. We listen. We've been learning communication on behavior, body language, tonal, voice fluctuation, vocal variety, really good word choice. And we practice that with our family. Even if you don't think we are, we do. Our friends, and on the job. So going back to working under pressure, let's say we're doing this job, and we want to be effective despite all the demands and stresses that's happening. And we start thinking there's not enough help, there's not enough money, there's not enough time, there's not enough expertise. How long can we do this effectively and health-wise? I say change the mindset. I don't like to be told what I can't do. And I don't like telling myself what I don't want to do or don't like. What I like to do is to remember that the best way to rise is to raise others up first. That's the team. So if I need to motivate, I need to set myself in a motivation mindset and be that cheerleader and move everyone forward. Because without others individually, I can't see how much of a difference I would make, but I can make a greater impact with people around me that I like and love and can enjoy every day, every moment, and make it worth it. If you look at the core values of Toastmasters, integrity, respect, service, and excellence, it all relates to each other in Toastmasters to achieve that. So you've heard me say some words that maybe have been new to you. It's about being mindful, setting a mindset, change the narrative. Okay, there's the different ways to look at things. And if it sounds a little negative, move away from that negativity. Change up the word choice, the tone, the positivity, and recreate what that awareness is for ourselves and for others. Being in control of our thoughts, our emotions, our needs. Being positive, self-motivated, particularly when there's setbacks. I have learned from an example I have there is not to be cynical. I was cynical for too many years, raised up in corporate work life at a young age, believing that cynicism was a corporate form of humor. I learned from a mentor in the workplace, the most unexpected function. It was from a quality function that taught me about self-motivation and the means of being mindful and looking at resetting the event, not changing it, just coming from a different angle. And that changed the motivation and popularity for me at the workplace, just by changing the mindset, change the story. It's a great tool to use raising children. If you ever have a chance, there's a book out called Mindset. And I can't remember the author right now. Very easy book. It's a white cover. It really helps discussions and difficult conversations with children, but it works on adults. And with that book, I learned a new form of empathy, working for what I believed I needed empathy of myself, but it allowed me to put myself in other people's shoes in order to have a conversation that fit their needs. Because with that, I've learned that even if I had a completely opposite view and position of that, as a Toastmaster, I can respect all viewpoints and understand their viewpoint, have fun in that conversation, don't even worry about my side of the conversation, and work at the neutrality of conversation without debate is the biggest listening skill that came from my Toastmaster speaking in all of these last just few months. I'm able to have effective communication and building others and with positiveness. The relationships I've gained just being division director, and it is hundreds of people that I didn't know before this year and rely on me and respect me and have been so supportive and made me feel real good the last few months that I've come across online in contests. They always have a kind word. And it's just a wonderful feeling that what I gave to give them to build up, they're giving back in relationship to me. It's a lot more than give and take, but it involves all of these emotional reasons why the rationale to enhance this communication and not restrict our thinking is really important. Very important. It's the emotional intelligence to read other people are 5 gestures, and they're nonverbal. Facial expressions, like if they're like really serious and not ever smiling, they're too intense and we have to break in and liven that up. Body movement and posture, if they're dropping shoulders and look a little down for the day and just can't get them built up, they need a pat on the back, right? What is it that you know about them that can cheer up their day? If it's walking, how walking your dog tonight, how'd that help? Something that you know about someone that would cheer them up to get their body position back up. Gesturing, or there could be negative gesturing, but what we want to be here is welcoming and warming gestures. Eye contact, we've got our camera, but this would be a hugely effective presentation if I was in person, because I would be walking up to everybody in the audience to really touch by the space of my voice and the audience these concepts of the nonverbal cues. Where's this used? Conflict resolution. When you're talking to someone, eye contact, listening, understanding, playing back very specific things. Where do I see it? Job pressures, motivating team members, changing their mindset, resetting. Frankly, my whole day today was all about resetting. When I left the work today, I thought I'd got nothing done, but sat for 5 minutes to breathe and realized it was the most effective day on the work I've had all week. Okay. It's only Monday, but it sets the tone for the next 5 days. It really will. Where it makes a difference with our family is to have that conversation of work-life balance. Are we spending too much time at work? Are we using our Toastmaster skills to communicate with our families? Are we able to head off the conflicts and find the time for ourselves? Here's 23 things. I put this on here because it's funny. If you had to remember all 23 steps to de-escalate any situation that you created in a day, I want to offer you, take a moment right now and quickly find 5 things on this list. And one of the things that you should see for yourself, as I saw for myself, is replay the things that I have control over, that I can maintain a calm voice when I'm really excited. That's needing balance, working with others, quiet talk, offer help. And I offer a lot of help to people when this distraction comes from work. Let's say it's an email. And why didn't you get that presentation done by 10 o'clock this morning that we're giving tomorrow at 6 a.m.? First of all, between 10 a.m. and 6 o'clock tomorrow is more than 12 hours. I still have time to give it to them. They just want it sooner. So I answer back, I'm just about done. How else can I help you? And I give them the time that I'll give that to them. And now they have a time from me and they don't have to be upset anymore because I have to be on my promise or still be mad. So there's things to work around these stress points. If someone wants something from you, you can give them a response when you can have that to them. If it still fits that time frame for them, it's de-escalation. So I've learned to give communication, not more than just feedback, it's coming, but it's coming and I'm about an hour away of having that done. And then I've set myself, I've set that person, I've changed the tone of the conversation, and I've asked, how else can I help? Which is what they want. So that's the rule I follow. Besides these 23 things, it's looking at the moment in that work relationship. I have the same thing in my working with my parents. My mom needed an electric blanket. She's cold, hers busted. The best I can do is have one delivered by Thursday. So I wrote it, bought it, and said they're going to deliver it to your home by Thursday. So now Ma's waiting for that delivery. In the meantime, we have extra blankets on her bed. But you know, that's a resolution for family. So where does Toastmaster bring all of this into play? We practice, we craft our speeches, we practice impromptu speaking for table topics, and we have evaluative technique. How I approach it is positively, always speaking through audience awareness, positively, trying to respond impromptu with audience awareness and off the cuff, and positively evaluate through kind means descriptive to the speaker's behavior, the speaking behavior. It's not the time to coach them in public. It's the time to say, oh, you're playing with your hair or you're speaking or you're chewing gum or you're smacking lips or something in that 3-minute evaluation that supports the distraction from what they probably wanted the audience to take away. 2 things to remember is that we always have practice in Toastmasters. But more importantly, we need to always do it in kind. The resources that I used for today's presentation is a book called Emotional Intelligence by David Walton. Toastmasters, beyond doubt, for all of this. And Performing Under Pressure by Henry Wesner. To go back a little bit, I wanted to go back into de-escalation. Give a couple of examples. This has been an amazing year where working under pressure, doing my job and doing the division job were at times challenging because the timelines, when I'm as busy as I am at work, I actually was as busy going on in Toastmasters. And it taught me time management. But what I never thought would happen is I went through 5 resolutions this year in my division. Some were big, a couple were with me and someone. And when it came to Toastmasters and it was at a club level issue, what I've learned is to really understand the mission statement that Toastmaster has written. Is you go through word by word of what the club level mission statement is and go back to practice that. And then while talking to someone needing the resolution and touch base with that information, it's amazing how in that conversation, the person having the conflict can go to the third party and come up with an offer of resolution and have a one-on-one. And it happened every time I had to go through this. When the person had a one-on-one, there was compromise, reset, feelings were worked through to get to a plan of action. And I've seen the relationships of every one of those situations get strong, 5 times the level they were when they had the misunderstanding. It was Toastmasters communication skills and those tools that resolved how they could go about doing that every time. But while I was going through the moments of understanding the person, it was this emotional intelligence, seeing the nonverbal cues and paying attention to my cues as well, that calmed everything down. And when you get the brain calmed down, plans start to be developed and turns into nothing more than performing under pressure. And that we know how to manage. Set an action plan and start doing the tasks. You don't want emotional intelligence to have to figure out. I was going to say you don't need emotional intelligence to figure out interpersonal conflict issues, but if you can recognize your own emotional intelligence, you can avoid that kind of thing for yourself. In my book, you can't go through one stressful moment of pressure without knowing how to navigate and motivate based on either the cues from emotional intelligence, and firmly believing that the Toastmaster skills I've learned are helping every situation. Thank you. And that's all I would have. I now offer questions and answers and other reflective interest by others, if you have them. That's the end of my presentation. It's an introduction of these two concepts, that it is about body language. It is about tone, kind words, reading others, staying neutral in conversation, trying not to have that emotional moment where you have to use conflict resolution tools, because you can avoid all of that. The more and more that we listen, we can learn from each other, and we can communicate better. And even impressively, I've seen, even through these last few months at the contest level, I've seen some wonderful speakers even using these tools in their presentations. Well, thank you.